Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
Jim Schwartz announced and introduced in Berea as the defensive coordinator for the Browns. Your reaction to that, your reaction to the press conference, have you heard any of it? And just overall, was it the right move or don't really care, you just want to see him succeed on the field?
Kevin, guess what my reaction was to a press conference? I don't care anymore, dude. We are. We both, neither one of us care about press conferences. They're going to come out and they're going to say the right things. He said some things that got the fans behind him, which is he was very smart about. But I'm trying my best to just stay to a show me and prove it. Now, am I excited about this guy being here? Of course I am. One of our biggest weaknesses is the defensive line, and this anywhere and everywhere this guy has ever gone, he's transformed their defensive line and gotten Pro Bowls and all-pro defensive linemen from him, and that's what we need right now. And I'd love to see him bring out the full potential in Myles Garrett, because he's an excellent player, but we all kind of felt that he has not reached what he truly is meant to be, and I think Schwartz is going to bring that out in him.
Audio, any reaction to Jim Schwartz being here, or are we just past the point of this whole Browns winning the offseason? Because I know I am, and I'll touch on that here in a little bit, but got to know what you thought of that hire and at least him being brought here to Cleveland.
Well, I think any change is probably a good change at this point, but I don't know. I've really got to see what happens. We've had such high expectations in the past with things changing, only to be disappointed. So, seeing is believing. Make me a believer.
That's what I was. I'm tempering my expectations. Normally, I get excited and they just disappoint me year after year after year. I'm mainly glad at least that he's a proven guy, but yeah, show me.
Yeah. Now we talk about the type of people that are willing to have conversations with people on social media and have an actual conversation. Like that's what this whole show is about. Is we're not gonna wow you with our hot takes. We're not going to yell at each other. We're not going to. If people watch us and they tune in or they listen to the audio on Google, Spotify, or Apple, or any podcast platform throughout the week, whatever, we appreciate you beyond belief. But you do it because we're just who we are. And I guess saying that, I almost got into it with a couple of people that responded to my tweet saying, no one wins a press conference like the Browns. No one wins an offseason quite like the Browns, and makes their entire fan base forget about all of the disappointment from the season. I know that Jim Schwartz is a little bit different. Eagles, because his defense was a major part of why that team won that Super Bowl. And yes, he has been on as a defensive coordinator. As a coach, not so much, but he did coach in Detroit, and they are kind of like us, but they haven't had much success, and they don't always give the right people the right to succeed and build that success.
When defensive coordinators, if they be a head coach, that means they're a damn good defensive coordinator at one point. So.
Yeah. And Jim Schwartz, again, he has proven it. So it's a little different. There is proof in the pudding, as they would say, to kind of go off of what he said. Yes, he won the press conference because he told all these old stories and how he took the last of the turkey from good old Bill Belichick, and they thought that they had something.
That ain't hooking me no more, Kevin. Give me no more.
I understand. And I'm saying all of this facetiously, like sarcastically, because it's not, for me, it's not going to win me back. I need to see it in September, October, and so on and so forth. I need my team playing today. I don't need my team being talked about as what are they going to do next to fix this team, because that has been the conversation almost every single offseason since 1999, with, of course, the exception being 2002 when they went to the wild card game, and 2020 when they won a wild card game and they were playing in the divisional round. But that's not much success since 1999 and not much success since the late 80s in total as an organization. You have to show me. Am I going to change my fandom? No, I am a Browns fan. I am a fan of Cleveland, but I am so sick and tired. And I wish more of us were really voiced how sick and tired we are of the Browns somehow PR wise putting on a good face, because you feel like they hire the right person. They say all the right things. They tell you what everyone wants to hear, but they don't execute and give you what you want between the most important 4 lines for this team's success. Until that happens, I'm not going to care what happens in an offseason. I'm not going to care what these people say in press conferences. And I'm going to stick to that, because in 2019, I said that going into 2020. And then they got me back in, and then they go to the playoffs, they go to the division round, even with COVID and all that stuff going on. I'm so over it, and I'm going to stick to it, just like we are sticking to our New Year's resolutions of getting out on time in segments and on this show. Today, it's not so tough because we're all at home. So, we just get off right at 8 and, hey, we're right at home. So it'll work out. This team, you have to show me on the field. And you know what? The head coach is still here. The GM is still here. The owners are still here. Paul D. Podesta, he is still here. And I don't want to get you going, Jay.
Can we just not say his name on this show ever anymore?
All right. Well, he's not Voldemort.
Win.
He's not Voldemort.
Jay, he's going to be our Voldemort.
He didn't take Harry Potter's parents. All right. I mean,
what got me excited, though, is I'm really happy that Bill Callahan's coming back.
Yes.
At least that was a guy who showed us that he's a good coach, and he turned down a job because he wanted to remain our offensive line coach. And I think that was pretty important and overlooked by a lot of people.
And I'm not here to fully question someone that's probably forgotten more football than I'll ever know in my lifetime. But he has some questions to answer too, because even with the injuries, hey, Cincinnati had a lot of injuries. Their offensive line was dominating against the Buffalo Bills today with all these different players in there. Offensive line left a little to be desired this season, if I'm going to be honest. I know that Nick Chubb had a great start to the year, and once Nick Chubb gets back past that first line, he is very strong. But there were times, especially in pass protection, sometimes in that run game, when they were supposed to be dominant.
Wills, I think, had a bad, but going on they were on their 3rd or 4th string center at one point, still holding up pretty good. And when you see people like James Hudson come in and you don't miss a beat, and he does really well. For all the people that have come in and back, like as backup roles and succeeded underneath him, including like the development of Wyatt Teller, he was hurt all year. And yeah, I love the dude. I think he's phenomenal coach, to be honest with you.
Am I saying that that's like a huge need or a big hole on this team? Absolutely not. But I am saying that when you have a season like you have, and you've had the last 2 seasons like you had, no one is immune from. Every single person in that building has to look in the mirror and figure out if this is actually going to work and we can move forward with Kevin Stefanski and this entire organization the way it's set up right now. And a major change, and I'm talking a major change in just how the team performs, has to take place and has to come out next season. And if the rust has been knocked off, the supposed franchise quarterback that we now have here and are paying $230 million, that will help maybe other little issues, because, hey, the same 3 teams are at the top of the AFC right now, and you're going to have to knock them off by having that guy under center. You have Patrick Mahomes, you have Joe Burrow, you have Josh Allen. You got to have that guy, that next guy that has the ability to go in Burrow versus Allen. You need Watson versus Allen, Watson versus Burrow. You need to have a guy that can be the guy to come out on top in one of those matchups moving forward. Now,
Yeah, I mean,
I leave you speechless a lot, Jay. You know, I try
Sometimes,
to
yeah.
I try to conversation, and then sometimes I feel like I should just shut up.
it's like you just kind of mic drop me, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you. I just agree with this sometimes. But yeah, with the offensive line, I think that's more on the players. I think the coach is fine. A lot of this stuff, I think, is just the coaches need or the players need to and hold them like they got to hold themselves more accountable. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and again, it has to happen during the season, not just in the off season when paper champions, off-season champions, they don't give out a Lombardi trophy for anything you do during the off season.